Give us a sense of what the issue is these days in inventory. I take it that the retail business has changed now, particularly with fast fashion.
Well, the issue has always been inventory. That's what people come to a retailer to seek out. So the first step in the process of being successful is selecting the goods that customers want to buy. Next step on the chain of events is deciding how much quantity, and then of course where to put that quantity, whether it's distributing it to stores or distribution centers that fulfill customer orders, and then monitoring the behavior of that inventory across the calendars so that when the season's over, there's nothing left. If you don't have the right inventory to begin with, which is something that has been plaguing JCPenney, and you don't unitize your inventory properly, which they've more or less acknowledged, in that they've had excess inventory problems,
right,
you're faced with liquidation issues, which are devastating if they're outside of the normal course.
And that's where you guys come in, right? So the whole idea is to be able to get rid of your inventory at the highest price possible. What are some retailers doing wrong?
Yeah, great question. So just taking a step back to let you know a bit more about what we do. So we've developed a B2B software platform that helps brands and retailers gain better visibility into their inventory position, be more proactive, and manage the entire disposition process from initial markdown to the ultimate transaction. So as a result, we've had the benefit of being able to speak to hundreds, if not thousands, of retailers in this space. And the issues that we're seeing sort of across the board are that their process with dealing with excess inventory in their systems are painstakingly manual and highly inefficient, sort of across the board. So there's ample room for innovation in the back end.
At the same time, let's talk about who's doing it well, who's doing it badly. We already talked about JCPenney, they're struggling with it. I'll put a chart up here for H&M, for inventory backlog, which at least according to this chart looks like they've got a very big problem. What is wrong, or what are they struggling with at H&M or JCPenney as opposed to somebody who's doing it really well?
Well, let me contrast H&M with Zara. They're two fast fashion retailers. They're both global. They have thousands of stores all around the world.
They're both on the corner right here.
Zara keeps knocking the cover off the ball. Zara is one of the original fast fashion players in the space. H&M follows on their heels. Zara monitors the performance of their inventory better than anybody in the business anywhere in the world. H&M struggles because they don't have the operating disciplines and they don't have the devotion to the use of technology that's emerged to ensure that their inventories stay current and stay in line with sales. So H&M episodically has these inventory crises. They're in one now, or they're moving through one now, whereas Zara really doesn't suffer from that.
So Eliana, let me understand your business. Is it to help H&M get this down to a reasonable level? Or is it also to help them going forward to make sure they don't get in trouble again on their inventory?
So sort of both. I think what we are trying to push to our clients more so right now is that yes, you can plan, yes, you can curate inventory to the best of your ability, but you need to put systems in place to manage it when excess inventory inevitably arises. And it will inevitably arise as a reality of the nature of retail.
So when you said you can help on the back end, what does that do? And I just want to bring up a chart that shows retail margins. So there's operating margins is the blue line, and the profit margins are the yellow line for the overall retail industry. So there's obviously lots of room to improve. So how on the back end? Like, what are some specific details you can tell us that you tell clients?
Sure. So as Mark mentioned, a lot of these retailers are lacking back-end systems that give them a constant pulse on real-time inventory levels. So they do not have the systems that will allow them to identify inventory that is quote-unquote problematic early enough in the process. So it's extending their sales process. And as we know in this space, every day that a unit of inventory sits in the warehouse, it becomes less and less valuable, significantly less valuable. So a process that centralizes all of their data and gives them access to their data, at the snap of a finger, as opposed to, taking 6 hours to pull sell-through rates, can provide substantial financial benefits to both operating and profit margin.
Mark, there seems to be pretty much a consensus between you and Eliana about what needs to be done. As you said, you need discipline, you need the technology to really make it work. Why isn't it being done at some companies? Is it really expensive? How expensive is the technology? If you went out and said, I need to buy that, if you're JCPenney, you're H&M, I need to buy that, how much money is it?
Well, I think this is really a cultural issue. It's old speak versus new speak. Zara makes decisions inside of a very tight window of time. The closer you make decisions to the point at which you're actually going to present merchandise to a customer makes you smarter. So if you're JCPenney and you're making fashion decisions 6 to 9, even 12 months in advance, you are necessarily less likely to be successful than a Zara, which is making those decisions inside of 3 to 6 weeks in some cases. So first and foremost, it's a philosophy of how we're going to manage the decisions we make, and then of course the technology is there to enable an organization to act upon those decisions.
So, Mark, this is what I understand. I don't know much about retail. I know more about the car industry. I mean, we had just-in-time manufacturing from Toyota more than 20 years ago. This is not a new thing.
Right.
Why is retail taking so long, at least parts of retail, to catch up?
Well, for many years, retailers got away with murder. They practiced the philosophy that we stack it high and watch it fly. If we put it on our fixtures, customers will come and shop it down to the bare fixture, and then we'll start to do that again the next season, except that doesn't work anymore.